Right. In today's class, we are going to learn about one more additional concept in our files, like how to write our structures data into the file. So up to our last video, what we learned is what actually a file is, like introduction to the file we learned, like how to open a file, how to close a file, right? All these things we learned. And also we learned two types of functions like formatted input output functions and unformatted input output functions. As part of formatted input output functions, we learned about fprintf and fscanf. What is the use of that one? Everything with example we learned. And as part of unformatted input output functions, we learned about getC, putC, fgetC, fputC, gets, puts, fw, and putw. Right? And also we learned about random access file operations. Like if you want to shift your file pointer from one position to the other position, then that can be done by using fseek. And if you want to move your file pointer to the starting of your file, then that can be done by using rewind. And if you want to know your current file point position, that can be done by using your f10. So these are all the things we learned in the last class. But one thing you need to understand here is all these things, whatever we have learned, we are able to write some data into the file and we are able to retrieve some data from the file. I hope you all are clear with these concepts. Now in today's class, what we are going to say is, normally if you want to write or if you want to get any data, the normal things we have used is fprintf and fputc, right? These things we already learned. But if you want to write some a block of data, like you will be storing block of data either using arrays or by using the structures. You all know what actually an array is and what actually a structure is, right? So arrays will store more than one data value and structure will also store more than one data value. But what is the main difference between these two? You already know. Arrays, all the data will be of similar data type, whereas structure, you have an opportunity of storing multiple data type values. Now, if you want to store blocks of such type of data, then we can do that by using fprintf and putc also. That is also okay. But if you want to easily do, like if you want to easily write contents of structured data or contents of array into the file, or if you want to read the contents of structured data and array data from the file, then that can be easily done by using these two functions, which are called as fwrite function and fread function. These are the two new functions added in our concept. So what are these two? These two will make us easy. Like the task will be very easier whenever you want to read or write block of data. Block of data in the sense I am talking about more than one value. Like structure, a structure variable will held more than one value, and array will also held more than one value, isn't it or not? So in that case, if you want to store such type of block of data in the files, or you want to get the data from the files, then you can do that one easily by using fwrite and fread. Right? So let us learn in detail about this fwrite and fread, and we'll see one example also whether we are able to successfully write the data into the file and we are able to successfully get the data from the file. Are you understanding, all of you? I'm repeating one more time. Remember, a value is considered as one unit. But if you consider structure or array, it is storing more than one value. So if you don't have this fread and fwrite, then what we need to do is individual value we need to store into the file. But if you see, structure variable can hold more than one value and all complete data you want to store at once. Let us consider a student structure who is having name, ID, and his age. Let us consider. Now, if you don't have these two, fwrite and fread, then individually name should be stored, ID should be stored, and then age should be stored. But if you want to store the complete data of a particular student as one record, as one block, then that can be easily done by using fread. And whenever you are reading from the file also, complete name, ID, and age can be retrieved at once. So that will be treated as one record. If you want to have such opportunity, if you want to have that features in your programming, that can be easily done by using your fwrite or fread. So let us start with the first one. First, let us learn how to write the block of data using structures. So in this lecture, I will explain the things how to write your structured data into the file. Okay, so first one is fwrite. Now, what the normal syntax of fwrite is? We need to use the function called fwrite. We need to specify a pointer, and this should be your address of the variable whichever is holding the value. Suppose you have a variable called a, then that a variable address you need to mention, which will be that means you need to write ampersand a, or else that a address you can store in some variable, and that variable can also be mentioned here. Always this will be a variable that will be holding the value, and you should give the address of this one, right? And the next one is size. Size is nothing but you need to specify the size of this variable whatever you are holding. Suppose if it is of integer, you need to specify size of 2 bytes. If it is a float, you need to specify 4 bytes, like that. If it is a structure, then you need to specify the size of that one. Suppose if you don't know the size, then you can use simply the function called size of and pass that variable, so automatically size of will calculate the size, and that will be taken if you don't know the size, right? Next one is count. Count is nothing but how many values you are going to put it into that one. If you are going to put one record, then write one. If you are going to store two values, the two records, then you write two, like that. Next one is the file pointer. That means into which file you want to write. You need to mention 4 values if you are using a fwrite. First one is the address of the variable. Second one is the size of the variable. That means size of the data type. In terms of bytes you need to mention, or else you can use size of function also. And then you need to specify the count, that is number of elements you are going to write. Why? Because we are normally using fwrite for structures and arrays. You can use normally also, but if you want to write more than one value, then you will be using this fwrite in case of arrays and structures. So here the count arrays, if you are storing 10 values, then you will be writing 10 like this. Understood, all of you? And then file pointer specify the file into which you want to write this data, right? So this is a normal syntax to write your data into this file. So what we'll do is, let us take one simple example. So this example will be like how to write a structured data into this file. Okay, so to understand this one, let me take one simple example, and using this example, it will be very clear to you all. Okay, so let me open the editor first. Now here what we are going to do is, we need to start with the header files, right? So the example here is, I am repeating once again, the example here is, I will be creating one structure, and that structure data I'll ask the user to type here, and whatever the user has given the input, that I want to put it into my file. Okay, so let me write all the header files that are required. And I think you all are clear with these header files, why we are including these header files. Okay. Now, after the header file declaration is done, so you all know about the structure. So whenever you are using the structure, it is suggested to put your structure, to declare your structure as a global structure, right? So I am creating a structure called student. And in this structure, I'll be taking a variables called name of the student. Okay. And then I will be considering the ID. Some elements we need to consider, and then I am considering. So 3 elements I have considered as part of this structure, that are name, ID, and marks. Okay. Now coming to our main method now. Now in this main method, first I need to create a copy of this student, isn't it or not? So how can we do? You all know about this. We need to write struct student and create one variable. So I have created a variable S1. You all are clear with this. Now we need to create one file pointer, because we are going to work with the files. We need to create one file now. So I am creating one file fopen. See, normally what happens is we want to put some data into that file, so we need to open that file in the write mode. But whenever you're opening any file in the write mode, you need to be more cautious. Why? Because if you are opening any already existing file, then whatever contents are there in that file, that will be completely erased. But if you are not, if you are opening a non-existing file, then the file will be automatically created. So what I'll do is I will be creating, let us call check1.txt is my file. If this file is not existing in the write mode, that file will be created. That's it. Very simple. If it is not existing, the data will be erased. No problem for me, even if it is erased also. Why? Because I want to start a fresh file. Got it, all of you? So check1 will be my file. If it is not existing, it will be automatically created. Why? Because I am opening that one in the write. Now what happens? Now what we need to do? Let us do one thing. I'll be putting clear screen also. Okay. Now what we need to do is I want to get the data whatever from the user, and I will be storing the values of S1 name and S1 ID and S1 marks. I'll ask the user to enter the data, and that data I want to put it into this file. Okay. So before that, let me ask the user to enter the data. Okay. So we need to write all those things now. Printf statement. So enter student details. So I'll be asking the user to enter all these details. Okay. Now after that, first one I need to ask the user printf. What is the first one? Our first value is name. So we need to ask the user to enter name, isn't it or not? So enter name. So I want to store that value. So what is that value? That value is your character array. So whenever you want to read any character array, we can directly do that one without using the scanner statement. How can we do? Get is what is that? Name. No, not name. We need to use the structure variable dot name, isn't it or not? So s1 dot name. You all know how to read the structure variables. These things you all are clear with this. Okay. Next one is I will be asking the user printf enter ID. Okay. So where I need to store this one? Okay, where I need to store this one? %d because it is integer value, ampersand s dot is this s1 dot, what is that? ID. Right? What is the last one? These statements are very simple statements where we are asking the user to enter the values. That's it. We have not done anything. We have not written any statement to write into the file. So I'm asking the user to enter the marks. So that will be saved in. Okay. So format specifier is %f ampersand s1 dot marks. Now you all are clear with these basic concepts. Now we have our name stored in s1 dot name, id stored in s1 dot id, and marks stored in s1 dot marks. Got all of you? Now after reading these values, what we need to do? I want to write this data, name, id, and marks into this file. What is this file? Check 1.txt. How that can be done? We have already opened in the write mode because we want to write that one. So how can we do? I told you we can use a function called fwrite, and using fwrite, this can be easily done by, if you don't use fwrite, then we need to write s1.name into that file. We need to write s1.id into that file and s1.marks into that file. And these three will be considered as three different entities. But we want to combine these three because these three belongs to a particular variable called s, which is of single unit. So if you want to have the name, id, and marks as a single record, then we need to use this fwrite. Now how to do this? That one fwrite. What is the syntax of fwrite? The syntax of fwrite is, first one is we need to use the address of the variable whichever we are going to store. Now what is the variable we are going to store? We want to store the variable called s1. Now how we need to write that one? Ampersand s1. Okay, or else you can store s1 in some pointer variable, and then that can also be given, no problem in that. Or else you can directly write address of s1. That means s1, total s1 you want to put it into your file. So what included in s1? Name, id and marks, which is considered as one value only. Okay, and after this in fwrite we have a second parameter, which is the size of this s1. If you know the size, you can calculate, or else if you don't know, if you are not confident in that, you can use this one size of, then you can simply pass this variable. Got it? So you will be getting the size of that variable, right? The third one is the count. Count is nothing but how many values you are putting. Even though you are giving name, id and marks, but these three will be considered as one value, that because we are writing s1 as single entity, our value in this case is 1 only. Okay, and then finally the fourth parameter is your file pointer. What is our file pointer? Our file pointer is f, so we need to mention that file pointer here. So if you write a statement like this, then what happens? The data whatever is there in S1, what is the data we have? Name, ID and marks will be stored into your file here, which will be considered as total one entry. Got it? So finally, if your work is done, then what we need to do? We need to close our file. You know the syntax of fclose, how to close that one. Now we can close our program. Now with this, what happens? A new file, if the check1.txt is not available, a new file will be created, and it will be asking us to give the name, id and marks. We will be giving this value, and whatever we give, that will be written into that file. But here, what is the problem is, we are opening a text file, and whatever data we write, that will be saved as a text data only. Even if you give an integer value and float value, that will be stored as a text data only. So if you try to open this check1.txt, you can't able to read, can't able to see the exact values of integer value and float value. But if you try to retrieve, then you will be getting the exact values only. So before that, let us run this program and check. So it is asking us to enter the name. So I am entering the name. And then it is asking the ID. Let me give an ID 1, 2, 3. And it is asking the marks. Let us consider marks is like this. Okay. So after giving name, ID and marks, I am clicking enter. Now once this is done, what happens? The data will be written into this file. So let us check whether check1.txt has been created or not, and let us open that file. If you open that file, the data will be written into that file, but you can't read that file. Why? Because it is a text data. If you are trying to write the integer value and float value, that will be converted into text, and it will be written in a different symbols. Let me show you that first. Okay, so you all know where the file will be automatically created. That file will be automatically created in your C drive, Turbo C, or sometimes it is CC according to the compiler, whatever you are installing in that bin, and there it will be creating a file called check1. See here, check1 is created. Ours is check1, or what is that? Ours is check1. Yes, ours is check1. So if you open this one, you can see the text is of different symbols. We can't understand what actually this one is. Why? Because we are opening a text file, and whatever data we have here, we can't understand. Okay, but this is how, but the data, whatever we have given, that is successfully written into this file. So this is the way how we can write the data into this file. I hope you all are clear with this. What we have done, we have opened a file. Okay, and then we have written of details into the file. We have asked the user to enter the name, ID and marks, and then we have written the data, complete data, structured data into this file. Suppose if you want to write one more data, simply you need to create one more student structure variable s2, read the values, and simply write fwrite of ampersand s2, and you can read that value. Understood all of you? Is this clear? Suppose, let me change this write mode to append mode. Now, why I'm modifying this one to append mode? Because I want to add one more entry. If I run again this program, then what happens? Already existing data, whatever I have given, like Jyoti, some 1, 2, 3, and some marks I have given, whatever data I have given, that will be erased if I run this program once again. But if I open in the append mode, whatever data is there, that will be existing, and new data can be added. So to achieve that one, I will be modifying this one. Observe here what I'm doing. Here I am modifying my mode of operation to append mode. Why? Because I want to run this program once again and new entry I want to add into this. Okay, so what I want to give you is my data is name is Rama, and then ID I want to give as 222. Okay, and the marks I want to give is 56.2. Okay, so two values I have inserted. So let me check my text file. Obviously we can't understand what is there in there, but you can see some new text has been added. Just by seeing the length of the text, we can understand new text has been added, but we can't understand this one. Got it, all of you? Now, this is how a data can be written. A complete structured data can be written into your file by using your fwrite function. Got it, all of you? I hope you all are clear with this concept of writing the structured data into this file.